Saren, Chandavith. We are from group AB-9, which consists of 4 members, and we are responsible for answering the critical thinking question of chapter 3 from question number 1 to question number 4. And I am responsible for question number 1. For the question number 1 is outline why the culture of a country might influence the cost of doing business in that country. Illustrate your answer with example. Well, today business environment has become more dynamic, more competitive, and increasingly complex, and add a little of cultural diversity. The challenge of cultural diversity not only impacts the way we conduct business internationally, but it also influences the cost of running business as well. In order to establish a reputation, companies need to heavily invest in learning the way each country conducts their business. This implies closer attention to be given to understand the needs of customers around the world. Evaluating the workforce to balance talent and productivity with cost and competitiveness, and navigating a regulatory environment with consistent standards of integrity across the globe. When there are simply different norms between how individuals from different countries interact, the cost of doing business rises as people grapple with unfamiliar ways of doing business. For instance, different class structures and social mobility also related to the cost of doing business. For if there are inhibitions against working with people from different classes, the efficiency with which information can flow may be limited, and the cost of running a business may increase. Furthermore, the stratification of a society is significant if it affects the operation of business organization. In American society, the high degree of social mobility and the extreme emphasis on individualism limit the impact of the class background on business operation. However, other forms of stratification such as network and ethical background may come into place. Over time, the relax of class mobility in a country and the difference between class can result in the emergence of class consciousness. Next, particularly an antagonistic relationships between managers and labor class, and the resulting lack of cooperation and high level of industrial disruption. In turn, higher costs can make it more difficult for companies based in such countries to establish a competitive advantage in the global economy. That's all. I already answered my question. Now move to the question number 2.
Hello, my beloved lecturers. My name is Chhan. Today I'm going to present a question about: do you think that business practice in the Islamic country are likely to differ from business practice in the United States? If so, how? The difference in the cultures cause the difference in the business practice between United States and Islamic country. For the women and men in the U.S., they have a right equally, but Islamic their rights have been different. And the Muslim country is a stewardship of property for God. Then, rather than honor, they are more likely to use their resources carefully and be less likely to give contract. The contract should be fair to all the parties, and partnership is preferred over hierarchical claims. For the product, acceptability is also important point, like hard drink or alcohol or pork are not allowed in the Islam and Muslim countries, but those products are accepted and allowed in the U.S. For the law in the U.S., they are different from the Muslim laws. For the U.S., if you want to, they not allowed to export their product to another country, and it is also decrease the number of import to another country. So the Islamic is not strict about this rule. But moreover, the Islamic business practice prohibited of speculation and interest. For the speculation, they said it is like gambling. For instance, if you want to invest in Islam mutual funds among the industry, which would be bad from representation, and funds would be gambling industry, but gambling also relates to the future. It relates to the currency hedges. So it measures situation that you have to be aware of it. For the interest, this is probably the thing that is most often identified with the Islamic finance. Back in the time of Prophet Muhammad, some of the most representatives and debuts were the money lenders, and so respond to the thing that these money lenders differ so reprehensible. Part of religious belief is that do not charge interest and accept interest. Now, of course, that isn't always practiced, but it is theories. However, U.S. business practice of solvents, problem and customer relation. Problem and solvents, very directed, fact-oriented, enjoy challenge, narrow saving face concern, quick resolution, prefer. Fact and logic are preferred over rely on institution on good feeling, like to plan and prepare but are flexibility. Learning by trial errors is more accepted in the U.S. than elsewhere. Customer relation. The customer is always right. Little vendor supplier, loyalty, generous return policies of merchandise, fair competition and low price afford the consumer significant choice and buying power. Yeah, that's all my presentation. Thank you.
My name is Simmarinet. My critical thinking question is, what are the implications for international business of differences in the dominant relation or ethical system of a country? Now, there are a variety of religions and culture out there in this world. It plays a significant role in linking the business to the world by its communication and relationship through its perspective and attitude. Different religions come with different culture and preferences. The director or manager will have to make an extra effort to figure out the norms or any differences in the culture. If the business is to be entered into the different dominant relation in the foreign market, the understanding will act as the lubricant to smoothen out the flow of the business internationally in the foreign market. Now, let's look at the selling of Kit Kat in Japan. As we know that Japan is the country known for its high concentration of the highest quality and services in the world. From a Japanese point of view, they think that customer is a god. They always think in their mind that customer is the god. So they pay attention to small details and really take into account what the customer thinks and needs. It means that even it is a small points that the customers sometimes don't even interested in, they might take into account and develop what is things that is not really good for their customer. And most of the company in Japan adopt a total quality management, which is a management that we know that they expect the perfect in everything. They do not have any tolerance for the quality of the goods and services that is bad. On the other hand, as we know that Kit Kat is a chocolate covered wafer bar that is created in the UK under the Hershey company, which we know that it is an international company that supply Kit Kat approximately over 100 countries around the world. Mostly we can buy Kit Kat in the supermarket, in the mart, with typical flavors like as milk, white or dark chocolate, or vanilla flavor. But with the cultural differences come with cultural preference. Kit Kat in Japan push up the market game strong. They step further and produce a Kit Kat, the wafer bar, with a weird and unique flavor. For example, Japanese like to eat raw fish or meat like salmon, raw salmon, or anything like that. And they put a wasabi, the strong spicy topping, and so they come up with the Kit Kat wasabi flavor. Last but not least, they introduce Kit Kat with matcha and green tea flavor. As we know that green tea is also well known in Japan for its taste and norms. Most of the Japanese like to eat things with green tea flavor and green tea drinks. Additionally, they have like a sweet potato flavors, apple flavor, strawberry or raspberry flavor, and baked corn flavor. That many of us know that Japanese like to eat that stuff. The flavor seems to be off for some of the country, considering the difference in the taste preference. But who knows? It became a great hit in Japan with its bizarre flavor, like a wasabi flavor. We do not expect it Cambodian to like this kind of a flavor, but in Japan, it's really a great hit in the country. This shows that knowing and adapting the business to the local environment will essentially benefit the international business in a foreign market. From what we research and knowing, adapting it to the local environment, I believe it will essentially be a helpful hand for the business in the foreign market. That is all for my answer.
Hello, our beloved lecturer. My name is Phouneta, and our group is responsible for Chapter 3, which is about different in culture. And I'm responsible for critical thinking question 4. The question is: choose the two countries that appear to be culturally diverse and compare the culture of those countries that indicate how culture different influence the cost of doing business in that country and the likely future economic development of that country and the business practice. As we know that culture is the way of behaving and understanding that shared by a group of people. According to Henry, culture is the way we do things around here. Each country have their own culture. Different countries have different culture. So to go into globalization, we need to learn deeper in that country culture to be successful in the international context. Culturally diverse and choosing Cambodia and United States. As we know that Cambodia have an ancient culture, and Cambodia is still in development. Cambodia ancient culture doesn't allow their daughter to go to school. Also, most of our population that in the countryside don't have enough money to send their children to go to school and get education. Because of lack education, that labor cost in Cambodia is very low compared to US that they are developed country and their population is well educated, so the cost of labor is extremely high, and this is the reason that US outsource their production to a low-cost country. Also, Cambodia in the world list, Cambodia is one of the top countries that are in corruption. Culture does also affect the business practice as well. Cambodia have a collectivist culture where teamwork is promoted and individualism is demoted. People love to help and go further together. In contrast with US, that individuals love to do their part and love to do their own part and take credit. Those people are motivated, driven from their own self. Another culture of US is equality concept. Everyone are equal in society and put emphasis on equal participation in leadership. On the other hand, Cambodia has a high-powered stand. This business organization have a strong hierarchies and high maturity. Yes, Cambodia women does have a right to do everything, but they might put people around doesn't trust with them. In Cambodia culture, female are supposed to stay home, do housework, and take care of the kids. But if the woman work in the higher position, people around might think, will she make it or will she do it? But in US, every gender are totally equal. US usually make separation between work and personality, while Cambodia is a network of relationships based on trust, connection, and cooperation. In addition, Cambodia is a high contact culture. Cambodia is not that high, but there is not a low contact culture. When Cambodia never said no because they believe that said no is rude. Said no is rude. It is indirect and lead to. It is indirect and lead to, and it's hard to assume. The answer is yes or no. But in US, a low contact culture, it represents direct style and open business environment. There will be both good and bad in future economic benefit. Economic in Cambodia right now will be better in the future because investor is coming in to invest a lot in Cambodia. Like economy in Cambodia is booming. But there are some problems like legal system in Cambodia is not working so well because people here is working through a trust and connection. If you don't have connection, it's might hard for you to work with them, and also corruption problem. This all end of my question.